Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. Those were the good old days. The laser is 'cause I like sci-fi. The dude is 'cause I am a rad guy. 99 is 'cause I like Wayne Gretzky. That's why I'm lazy dude 99. Lazy time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review and talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the Hello everyone, I'm LazyDude9. Now welcome to another LazyDude99 review. Today I am looking at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, produced by Michael Bay. I should probably really know the name of the director or anything like that, but in the end this is a Michael Bay movie, so that's what we're going to be judging it on. Now, this is the story all about how April O'Neil's life got turned upside down. How she grew up she was the daughter of this scientist, and this guy was working in this lab, and all of a sudden a fire breaks out, and she saves these 4 turtles and this rat that were being experimented on in this laboratory. She leaves them into the sewers, and then eventually they grow up to be big, tall, gigantic ninja turtles, and she grows up to be a big disappointment known as Megan Fox. Anyway, it's your basic Ninja Turtle story. Shredder comes, big evil scheme, turtles try to stop him, April gets in trouble, blah-de-da-de-da. So let me just say, out of all the superhero movies this year, this was the one that I was not looking forward to at all. If you can even call it a superhero movie. I mean, they are ninjas and turtles. But this was the one I wasn't really looking forward to. I thought it was just going to be a butcherization of the beloved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. I didn't think it was going to work on any level, and I thought I was going to really be bored by it. And I only saw it because of some circumstances that led me to see it. So that's the only reason I saw it. So besides that, what did I think about the movie? I see a lot of comments saying how, you know what, it wasn't that bad. All in all, it could have been a whole lot worse, and it just wasn't that bad. So, the one thing that I can say about this movie that everybody else has said is a positive is the voices of the Ninja Turtles. I mean, actually, all of them did a good job. I mean, I will say that it has the classic Ninja Turtle problems where a lot of them aren't given enough development. Like Donatello, once again, he got the short end of the stick, which is ironic because he's the only one that fights with a staff. A lot of time gets shown to Michelangelo because he's, the goofball and says all the funny jokes. Raphael gets a lot of time. In fact, Leo, despite being the leader of the team, has actually cut back a bit on his time in this movie. But I will say that all 4 of them work. I mean, I can at least say that they have that over the TMNT, the animated one, because in that, there were some actors, while their voices were fine, some of them weren't really memorable, or they weren't really that distinguished, and here I actually think that they were. The Turtles' all voices were very distinguishable. You knew which one was talking. If they were off screen, you knew which one was Raph, you knew which one was Mike, you knew which one was Leo, and you knew which one was Don. And they actually worked off of each other pretty good. I thought that all of the Turtles worked off of each other very good. Notice I just said the Turtles. And we'll get to other stuff in a bit. The action scenes are actually pretty good. I mean, they're still... The big problem that I still have is that they're ginormous. They're ginormous turtles, and it's hard to buy that they are, ninjutsu in the shadows type people or creatures when they're that big. I mean, look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the first cartoon. They were shorter than April O'Neil. Look at them in the next version. They're about the same height as a regular human being. I think in the new cartoon, they were even a little bit shorter again, making them teenagers again, rather than looking like adults. And now, They are ginormous. The decision to make the Ninja Turtles big, I think it's the filmmaker's desire to make the film seem bigger and better and larger, but it really loses a little bit of the ninja style because it's hard to believe of them hiding in the shadows when they're that ginormous. I mean, you get the scene from the trailer where Raph slams his back into this middle of this truck, or this Jeep or whatever, military truck. You realize he's taller than the truck. So if they were trying to hide, where would they hide? They're bigger, they're much taller than cars. Anyway, that's a personal problem. That one doesn't take away from the movie too much because they still do a whole lot of like ninja fighting. It isn't all just overblown action scenes. They still do some kung fu and karate and ninja stuff. I'm just saying I still am not a fan of the ninjas being that huge. However, the movie's biggest problem, Megan Fox can't act! I don't know how I need to stress that for you guys at Hollywood. Megan Fox can't act. Got it? And you know, the funny thing is, she's not even cast in this role as like a sex object, which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they don't. I'm so tired of women being treated like sex objects in movies. But that was like her main appeal, you know? People would say, I want to see Transformers because Megan Fox is in it and she's hot. The most that she does in this movie is jump on a trampoline. And even that, she's not wearing anything skimpy. She's wearing like a regular, like a t-shirt. And it's not, there's no close-ups on her or anything like that. That's the most we got. There's no degrading butt shots, her leaning over or anything. And I'm glad, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that there's none of those shots in the movie, but I'm just saying that's her main appeal. So why? Why on earth would you cast Megan Fox in this gosh darn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie then? When she cannot act. Her emotions are so bland and blank, and anytime she says something, it's like she's putting on a voice. I need to find her these things and do this and blah blah blah, and it's so not good. I mean, it's with how awesome the Turtles are. Megan Fox is on the far other end of how bad she is as April O'Neil, and you know what? The script isn't actually that bad with her. I could definitely see a much better actress pulling this off. I don't know, like maybe a Jennifer Lawrence or a, well, now I just can't think of anyone else other than Jennifer Lawrence. Shouldn't have started there. Or, heck, you know who would have been great? Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah, Hit Girl. She would have been perfect as a young April. Like, okay, she might be still in her teenage year, but I could see them going that route. That she's a teenager trying to make her way up into the ranks, and nobody takes her seriously because she's too young. Nobody takes Megan Fox seriously because it's Megan Fox. There are plenty of stuff wrong with this script that don't make sense, and they just add on to the stupidity of Megan Fox. Okay, there's a scene where she's supposed to be meeting this dock worker at night. And she comes across the Foot Clan doing this robbery. And so what does she do? First thing she does, since she's a reporter, she calls the news station. And she's like, guys, I think there's something. And they're like, oh, April, we're on live right now, can't talk to you. Bloop. Which, honestly, I really don't think any boss would do that. I think they'd transfer her to, like, the secretary or something. Anyway, either way, she gets hung up on. So now she's hung up by her boss, and news people aren't going to be here, and there's all of these Foot Clan, stealing all this stuff. What is the logical thing to do, everybody? Call the police, right? Does she do that? No! She then proceeds to hop over the fence and try to take pictures, and then the Ninja Turtle comes and stops the Foot Clan. And then they leave. Now, here's the thing. If she had phoned the police and said their Foot Clan was here, and the police were on their way, and even if there was no evidence of the Foot Clan, like even if the Foot Clan had all driven away and the Turtles were all gone, even if that happened, there would still be physical evidence. Tire scraping. They moved around a whole bunch of stuff. There must have been some stuff that was in a place where it shouldn't have been. And then what happens, since she didn't call the police, she then goes to her boss the next day, played by Whoopi Goldberg for some reason, and she says, "Look, there's a vigilante out there. I know, because I was at this docks and there was a robbery taking place." And they're like, "Well, no robbery was ever reported." "Well, duh, it's because he didn't phone the police." And this could have been such an easy thing to fix. What if she did phone the police, but they went to the crime scene, and since they were corrupt police officers or being paid off by this Sachs guy, what if that happened? If it was like that, then there you go. If you could have shown how she's being smart, but the system is corrupt, therefore it's working against her. Stuff like that. Now it just makes her look like a blundering idiot because there's a robbery taking place, and then she doesn't call the police. And then she sees the turtles, the 4 turtles. And what does she do? Does she realize that most people aren't going to believe this story and therefore keep it to herself until she has more evidence? All she has is a photo with 4 turtle humanoid shapes jumping in the background. Very hard to make out. So it's not proof yet, but it's still something. So she needs to keep digging deeper, right? No! Take it to your boss and tell her all this now. Oh, by the way, did I mention this is going to be a spoiler review? It's going to be a spoiler review. And so she gets fired because she's acting crazy. Well, no kidding. And her character keeps on doing these things that are just not smart. And it's impossible for me to really like her as a character. Look, say what you want about the previous April O'Neil. You know, from the cartoons or whatever. She might have gotten into trouble a whole lot, but she at least had some spunk to her character, you know, something to grab onto, something that she was either, you know, a tenacious reporter with never hunt down, never back away from a story, or she was, you know, someone who cared for the turtle. There's a fly there. Or you know, whatever. There's something to their character. There's nothing to Megan Fox's character, or at least there could have been if she was played by a better actress. Megan Fox can't act. And then, poor Will Arnett. I have never seen Will Arnett less funny in my life. And I've seen, you know, Blades of Glory. I've never seen Will Arnett so not funny. And he's trying so hard. He's trying to make this character, this cameraman for April O'Neil, this awkward guy that's, you know, kind of has a hots for April O'Neil. You can tell that he's, like, so not interested in her. And it's just so awkward. Not in a funny, awkward way. It's just embarrassing. And he's trying and trying, but he just comes across as annoying. So, his comedy, not good. Not good at all. Not in the slightest. But then, what about the Shredder? I want to say this one thing. The first moments of this film has the biggest exposition dump I have ever seen in a movie, which raises so many questions about the movie that it isn't even funny. You have Splinter telling this story to his sons about, about the Shredder and everything, but then you wonder, wait a minute, how does Splinter know anything about the Shredder? You know, like, let's say the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, it was a rat that was a pet by Humato Yoshi, who was just a pet, and he saw the Shredder kill his master. And then was eventually left loose in the streets and was then hit with the mutagen that made him know all of the martial arts that he all saw, but also, know who the Shredder is because he had seen him and actually be able to process that in his mind. This movie, they never, ever, ever say how Splinter knows about Shredder, because Shredder didn't kill April's father. He clearly said that he died in the fire, or that Sachs killed him, or something like that. But Splinter goes on this big old exposition dump about the Shredder, but they never introduce the Shredder to them. There's no introduction. There's the Shredder. There he is. Go. How do these guys know? They've been living in the sewers this whole time. Supposedly, this first night out where they go and take down some foot ninjas is their first time. Because you have Karare, Shredder's assistant, says that we've never seen an enemy like this before. Okay, so it was their first time out. Obviously, Splinter is not walking around out there. He's always been the one that's afraid of the outside world. So how does Splinter know about Shredder? How does he know about anything? What? Nobody else knows about Shredder. Nobody except for Shredder's men and Sax. So what? It's not like the Foot are known as a band of mercenaries that are, using guns and doing all this stuff, whatever. Sure, but nobody knows who their leader is. It's very explicitly explained that nobody knows who the leader is. So as Splinter, who is living in a sewer, and doesn't go out to the outside world, and the Turtles haven't been going out to the outside world because that was their first time going out in the outside world, how does anybody know about Shredder and what his plan is? Speaking of Splinter, hated the voice. Literally hated it. It did not sound like an old wise mentor. It sounded like a guy trying to do an old wise mentor voice, but not really good. If I did this as Splinter, I'm Splinter, and I'm old and I'm wise. No, not good. No, not good at all. The animation on Splinter was the one I thought didn't hold up the most. The Turtles, surprisingly, I thought they worked pretty well. I didn't think they would from the trailers, but they held up pretty well. But Splinter, there's always something off, especially with the fact that for some reason his tail has the arm of Mr. Fantastic up his butt. I mean, seriously, every time he shoots his tail like 10 feet. 10 feet. I'm like, rats' tails can't do that. At least I assume not, since I live in Alberta. This is like one of the few countries in the world that is rat-free. So, but, rats' tails can't shoot out like a whip. It would be one thing if he was just doing it in front of him, like using it as leverage. I'm okay with him using his tail to fight, but it extends, like I said, Mr. Fantastic's arm or something, which doesn't make any sense. I'm just not a fan of the voice of Splinter. So here's the score. I like the Turtles, don't like April, don't like Splinter, don't like Shredder. Okay, good. He's an Asian now. He's not Sax. Yay? I almost feel like the creators of this movie were doing this bait and switch philosophy. They're gonna be aliens. What? No, that's wrong. Oh, no, we're not gonna make them aliens. That means we care about you. Oh, Shredder's gonna be a white guy. What? That's crazy. That's not how it's gonna... No, he's actually Asian, because we care about you. I don't even know what the whole cover-up was. It said in interviews, the guy said that he was happy that he was playing Shredder, when clearly in the first, 10 minutes, we see Shredder as this Asian guy that in the shadows who we never get a good shot of his face. I think you have Shredder confused with Dr. Claw. We do see Shredder's face. Anyway, I get that Shredder is supposed to be mysterious, and I get that he's supposed to be this super strong, powerful being. I get that. Why did they have to make him into, Megatron? I mean, his outfit is so outlandish and so over-the-top not Shredder that it's laughable. He has all of these knives sticking out of him, which is so impractical. I mean, okay, Shredder had knives here, or blades here, and on his shoulders. Maybe the shoulders are a little bit impractical, but hey, they go with the look, and it's fine. I like it. It's a classic Shredder look. This Shredder, he has blades here, and 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 hey, Macarena! Oh my gosh. The whole appeal of Shredder was that he was like this evil villain that could take on these turtles that was just... I always like when he's just human. Because for some reason that makes him more threatening. When you turn him into this mechanical beings that he throws knives and then they magnetically come back to him like a boomerang, not interesting. And that's the big thing. Okay, think of Shredder in this movie as Bane with Lex charisma. Like if he had the big plan and everything, but he didn't actually do anything. You know, like, none of his lines help us to get any depth into his character. You know, say what you want about the original Shredder, but he was always intimidating and came off as a major threat that had everything in his hands and everything under control. This Shredder? No, not so much. I don't get that feeling. I'm never given anything to know about the Shredder, and I think that nowadays we want to know more about our villains. We want to know why they want to do these things they do. Why do they want to do it? Oh my gosh, you guys! Stop ripping off every story item from everything. Okay, their main plot is to poison the city, make the antidote, and after enough people die, say that you're the savior of the city. Yay! Well, let's see, where have I seen that before? Well, let's start at the beginning. Batman the Animated Series had it. Roland Daggett wanted to unleash a virus and then make the cure so he could be rich off of it. Let's see, G.I. Joe, the new movie, the first Rise of Cobra, they wanted to basically destroy the whole world, and then they have all the power, and so everyone would turn to them. Those are just two coming off the top of my head. And it makes no sense. Okay, I want to just go into the movie's plot holes, because there are tons, and they just don't make any sense. Okay, there's a scene in the movie where 3 of the 4 turtles are captured. You know, we got Donatello, Leonardo, and Michelangelo. They're all captured. They think Raph is dead. Yeah, don't bother to go check, foot soldiers. It's not like you should, double check because, that's a threat to your operation. Anyways, so they take him over because they need their blood to make the cure. Okay. Then Raph comes with April and Will Arnett, and they drive up to this place, and then Raph goes one-on-one with the Shredder. And the Shredder, of course, beats the crap out of him. Where have I seen this before? Oh, yeah. But anyway, okay, so Shredder's beating the crap out of Raph. And then he looks up and he sees April O'Neil and the Will Arnett character, who I don't remember the name of, which I'm totally okay with. And he sees them up there, he's like, you're interfered for the last time. And so he steps on Raph's shell or punches it or something, and he cracks it, and he gets up, and he walks away. Are you kidding me? He just leaves! He leaves! He doesn't go up to stop April O'Neil or this not Casey, I'm going to call him that, not Casey. They're not even going to, they're going up there and he doesn't stop them. He doesn't order more men into the room, and so he just leaves. And what happens? April does something on the computer and lets all the turtles out. He doesn't even kill Raph. Raph's waiting right there on the floor, and he clearly says to Raph, "The 4th one's for you, Raphael." And yeah, well then why didn't you pick him up and put him there? Why didn't you say, you know what, those 2 people messing with my equipment right now that could potentially lead to the 4 people who could stop my plans, let him be. I'm sure there's no way that this could backfire. Let's not even call backup. Let's not call any foot soldiers in that we have tons of, and let's not call them in here to deal with these guys. We'll leave them alone. I'm going to step on Raph's shell. Then I'm going to leave. I'm not going to call for backup. I'm not going to deal with April O'Neil and this other, not Casey. I'm just going to leave them all, and they break free. Only because Shredder leaves for no reason. Sure, they have the cure. If they had the cure, this is what he would do. Okay, Raphael, we have the cure, so... April O'Neil. Which I would totally be okay with. Anyway, he would just kill them all. He would kill them all right there. And that makes absolutely... That drove me nuts. I'm like, he just leaves? There's no backup coming? No soldiers? No nothing? He just got bored and left? And where did they get onto the snowy mountain? They're outside New York. Are there mountains near New York? Like, nearby? Because... enough that they could take a sewer tunnel to... They ride a sewer tunnel to New York? If anyone's near New York, please answer me that, because I didn't think there were mountains near New York. I thought it was just on the coast, you know? But I could be wrong. I'm not an American. So, okay, but besides that, here's a big problem. The one big problem. First of all, your plan is another ripoff of Amazing Spider-Man because it's basically trying to release a virus out of a roof that's going to encompass the entire city. That's it's Amazing Spider-Man right there, and it's so obvious. I'm not the first one to point this out. It's so obvious here to everyone that it looks nearly exactly the same to the Amazing Spider-Man. Now, next. This guy's plan, Sax's and Shredder's, is to release this virus. And then this virus will infect thousands of people. Lots of people will die. And then Sax Industries will come out with the cure. You know what? I'm pretty sure that with on a global scale, let's say if it succeeded, if the Turtles died and they did this, on a global scale like this, killing thousands of people, there would be plenty of satellite imagery of the area, and it'd be pretty easy to tell that the smoke, that the virus originated from your flippin' building! I mean, there's a moment where you see the virus start to go out, and it's dense red smoke. So it would be very easy to spot on a satellite which building it would be coming out of. And don't you think that the governments would be a little eensy-weensy bit suspicious that this red cloud that came out of this ginormous, this that killed thousands, maybe millions of people that just happened to belong to the Sax Industries, which sounds like somebody kicked a guy in the crotch Industries, but anyway, don't you think they'd be a little suspicious that the virus that was released over Sax Industries, and Sax Industries was the only company that happens to magically come up with the cure? I think that would raise a few flippin' eyebrows! And I know it's very hard to do Ninja Turtles, because Ninja Turtles have been around for a long time, so it's very hard to do it and try to come up with a new angle. But did anyone else feel like the way that the fight was structured was almost like scene for scene from the first Ninja Turtles movie? They're on a rooftop, they start attacking them one-on-one, it doesn't work, then they regroup, and then they say, alright, let's do this, and they attack as a team and they get them. And the only difference is, in the original one, it was Splinter that used one move that got him, and then Casey, oops. I thought that was very, very familiar. I thought a lot of this was familiar territory. In fact, like a lot of other reviewers have said, a lot of this depends on you knowing these characters. Because when Raph is just like, I was, such a jerk and I'm sorry, I'm just like, well, you said a couple of jerky things, but nothing really out of the ordinary. I've seen you say worse and do worse, so whoop-de-doo. Donatello is shoved out of the area. Leo doesn't really do anything that's leader-worthy. And okay, there's this weird scene where there's April, when you get the cure, be very careful with it. It could save Splinter's life. What? Okay, this is what I saw what happened to Splinter. Not pointy ends and just big punch to the stomach. I think he'll be okay. Which makes another thing right there. Why didn't he just kill Splinter there? Why didn't Shredder just go like... Look, I know why, because it's a kid's movie. But I want the story to make sense just as much as the pacing and the structure of the story. I want it to make sense. It didn't. In fact, Shredder leaves even though he knows April O'Neil is alive and April O'Neil's down there. Shredder could have easily killed her. But what? He's just like, you know what? Forget her. Forget this guy too. Just let him die. He'll be fine. You know what? I really didn't want to hate this movie actually coming out. Going in, I thought I was going to hate it completely. Coming out, I didn't want to. Because, as I say, guys, the guys doing the Turtles are really good. They all fit the characters. They all are done well. The fight scenes are actually pretty well done, and memorable. And unlike the Transformers movies, they don't last like an hour and a half per fight sequence. They're just the right amount of pacing that they need to be. But the main character who we see the eyes through the most of is April. And she sucks so bad. She's so bad. Okay, another thing I want to talk about. How do the Turtles learn Kung Fu? By reading one book. One book. I'm sorry, but if I read this little book here that was about the Bible, this Discovery Bible thing, just because I read the book, even if I read it every page over and over again, I would not be able to tell everyone 100% about everything that happens in the Bible and everything. Just like you cannot master ninjutsu by reading one book. Heck, even if they said that he went out and stole other ninjutsu books, or if they found these sewer lines that went by karate classes and looked in on them and saw how they trained or something like that, that'd be fine. But there's just a book laying on the ground that says the art of ninjutsu, and Splinter picks it up and is like, oh, isn't this something? Oh, okay, and then he starts studying it, and all of a sudden, they're all ninjas! I'm sorry, but you have to put into practice. Reading isn't the same as learning. Well, it is. But, I mean, just because you read how to be a great chef doesn't mean you know how to do it. It's all about putting it into practice, into doing it. You have to do it, and you won't be able to get the right instruction unless you have somebody actually teaching you. So I think that for Splinter to be a martial arts master is really incredible, considering all he did was look at images in a book. You know what? It's really strange when, the previous comic's origin actually makes a whole lot more sense. When Splinter was a rat, all he did was watch his master learn ninjutsu. So when these chemicals came onto him, and he became really, really smart, his brain could now process each and every move that he saw. So that way, and his brain was able to process each and everything that he said. So every time he looked at his master doing this, he could now process that and become a master of ninjutsu. That makes sense, actually. Really, if you think about it, it makes sense. You read one book. That's like saying if you read one cookbook, you know how to cook everything. Just because you read one book on ninjutsu doesn't make you a martial arts master. Unless that book was written by Batman. But anyway, I wanted to actually like this movie. There was a point where I'm like, you know what, maybe this movie isn't that bad. But then I'm just like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And that doesn't make sense. And that doesn't make sense. And Will Arnett, you're so not funny in this movie. You're hilarious in the Lego movie. What happened? This came out the same year. Right. Bad script. Don't have to tell me twice. Okay, I've just ranted and raved about this movie enough. Is it horrible? No, actually. I mean, I've ranted and raved on this, but only because it's a movie that it doesn't actually think its movie and story structure through, and has a really boring, bad actress. But you know what? Even though the story is cliched, there's nothing horrendous about it, except for really Megan Fox, and it's just like, while we don't know a whole lot about the Shredder, he isn't not menacing. He is still menacing in scenes, and even though we're not given a full character depth into each and every Ninja Turtles, they're still fun to watch, and their personalities are very present in there. And even the April O'Neil stuff could have actually been handled a lot better with a better actress. And there are a lot of funny moments in this film. But where it comes down to, it's filled with plot holes. It's filled with plot holes, and the main character whose eyes we see the movie through, April O'Neil, is very, very bad, a very, very bad actress, and that's what brings this movie down. I was debating whether to give it a 5 or maybe even a 6, But I'm just like, no, I can't. I can't give it an average rating because it doesn't think through its story. And that is one of the most important things about a movie, its story. And to not think through your telling of the story brings it down for me. Is it horrendous, like one of the worst movies I've ever seen? No. Is it better than the TMNT, the animated one? has some qualities and some not. Maybe. But in any case, I'm going to say that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie gets a 4 out of 10. It's a below average film. It's nothing horrendous. Even though, as I say, the movie structure doesn't make sense and a lot of plot holes are there, I still laughed in a lot of parts and enjoyed the action scenes. And if the movie can give me something to enjoy about it, I can at least get a little lax on it. So I'm not going to say this is a, horrible movie. I'm just going to say it's a below average film. Is it better than I thought it was going to be? Yes. But I am not going to give it more credit than it deserves. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.